I wanted to speak about why good governments need a strong opposition. We've seen federally the coalition failing to fire on all cylinders, thanks partly to the fact that Labor are in such disarray, confused about who they are and what they stand for. Without a viable alternative snapping at its heels, a government can become complacent. We've seen that in Victoria, where the opposition has failed to lay a glove on the Dan Andrews government. Next weekend marks the one-year anniversary of the Victorian election, and one can safely say that if a poll were held today, Labor would win again in a landslide. Dan Andrews' government appears impervious to the fallout that follows political scandals, whether due to gross acts of incompetence or deliberate wrongdoing. Since its rise to power in 2015, the Andrews government has weathered controversies that would have deeply destabilised and even destroyed other governments. But Teflon Dan's talent for diffusing a crisis and diverting attention elsewhere is, it has to be said, damn impressive. It says something about the strength of Labor support in Victoria that the systematic rorting exposed by the Ombudsman that led to a criminal investigation saw no drop in Labor's support base. Nor have other issues such as the ongoing law and order problems, the energy policy chaos, the Country Fire Association scandal, and the bizarre ideological fancies like allowing people to change their gender on birth certificates once a year. Today we learnt that more than 20,000 sick Victorians will have their operations further delayed as the state's hospitals are forced to extend their waiting lists due to massive budget cuts. Some hospitals will see a 98% increase in their waiting lists. And earlier in the week, the Herald Sun reported that construction costs on major Victorian projects have increased significantly by $770 million in the past year. Example, a project costed at $233 million in 2016 is now expected to cost more than $500 million to complete. But don't expect these developments to harm Labor at the ballot box. The truth is the Victorian opposition has been too weak for too long, rarely laying a glove on the Andrews government. The opposition has been largely missing during ideological fights and has done little in prosecuting its case that Labor is mismanaging the economy. It needs to work harder and be bolder if it has to have any hope of keeping Labor accountable. As it stands, Teflon Dan would be re-elected in a heartbeat. People want a clear alternative, not a Labor-light coalition. It's time for the Victorian Liberal and National parties to develop a backbone, or they can look forward to many more years in opposition.